Sahna Vavtu Sahanao Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. So we did verse 4 last week, which says, if here in this life one is able to comprehend him, meaning Brahman, before the death of the body, and then in parentheses means that's what we have to believe, he will be liberated from the bondage of the world. And if not, then one has to take a body again in this world of creation. Means janam maran ka chakkar chalu rahega if you don't realize the Brahman in this life. So that's what it was. So now the next verse is very important one, because it's telling you, somebody might say that, hey, if there are so many different lokas, like in our shastras they say ki there are 7 above, 7 below, aise karke division kiya hai, and then there could be hundreds of other lokas, God only knows. And even science has verified now that they from the statistics there has to be life on other planets, because how can we be the only one? Itna importance apne ko nahi dena chahiye, there could be other. So both ways, science and spirituality both is telling us that there will be other lokas and all that. So kya Earth is the only place you can get it? That's what this one question, why this is so important. So that it answers all that. So here is the verse. Yatha adarshe tatha atmani yatha swapne tatha pitruloke yatha apsu parivadadrushe tatha gandharvaloke chaya atapayo eva brahmaloke. Sounds very complicated, but once we know it, we'll know what it is. Make sure that my recording, yeah. Yatha means as, adarshe. Adarsh bolte hain mirror ko Sanskrit mein. Tatha, so, atmani, within one's own self. Yatha swapne, as in dream. Tatha pitruloke, so in the world of forefathers. And the English mein bolte hain manes or something, right? I don't know how to pronounce it. M-A-N-E-S. So I looked up. So certain cultures believe that after people die, they are like shadow in some world or something like that. That's isko bolte hain world of manes. Means jahan marne ke baad log pahunchte hain. Some of them, I guess. Some other loka, in other words. Yatha apsu, as in the water. Pari eva the drushe, seen like a reflection, hazy. Tatha is and Gandharva loke, in the world of Gandharvas. And Gandharvas are all the music jahan par hota hai vagara, and we'll talk about that. Chaya atpayo eva, as in the light and shade ki tarah. Brahma loke, in the world of Brahma. I know it sounds complicated, but it's not that once you get it. So यहाँ पर ये बताया है कि, just to give a summary, it will become clear that, hey, there are, on this earth, it will be much easier to get this knowledge if we can clean our minds. And we saw the whole thing, how to do it in Bhagavad Gita. The only other place is Brahmalok. And everywhere else, it's not going to be very clear. So keep that in mind, and then we can understand how I'm saying. So starting with Adarsh, okay, mirror. What are we talking about mirror? So what is the quality of a mirror? Mirror ka main thing hai ki whatever comes in front of it, it reflects it. But it depends on how clean the mirror is. अगर मिरर पे बहुत ज़्यादा धूल जमी हुई होगी तो रिफ्लेक्शन दिखाई नहीं देगा, और थोड़ा डस्टी होएगा तो कम. सबसे अच्छा हम लोग को कब दिखेगा अपना चेहरा? जब मिरर एकदम क्लीन होगा. So that's why we keep cleaning our mirror, so we can see ourselves in it. So that's the analogy. So when we talk about mirror analogy, what are they referring to? They have used different terms in Kathoupanishad. They call it Hriday Guha, Buddhi Guha, in the cave of your heart, they call it, or your mind, all these things are kind of a similar thing, pointing to the same thing, because we have learned that the consciousness reflect in our mind. And depending on the quality of our mind, that's how we get the knowledge. So जिसकी mind एकदम pure होएगा, reflection एकदम वैसा का वैसा ही होगा. So that's what that Turiya state is, that when you see that reflection with that purity, then you merge with that higher. You realize that you are that, something like that. Okay, so keep that in mind. So when they are talking about the mirror, we have to think of mind as from our side, that cleaning our mind just like the clean mirror reflects. So other thing is why they are using this analogy of a mirror. Very interesting psychology over here. They're saying when we are looking in the mirror, what are we doing actually? So Swamiji is going to go in detail. When the men shave in the morning, he's saying that when you look at your mirror and you want to shave, you don't shave the reflection. You're looking at yourself and then shave. So what does a mirror do? It points to you, how you are. So you look at the mirror, but it's pointing to you. So the same way, the Shastras are called the mirror for you. Why? Because it gives you the knowledge of the self. And self is nothing but your own. In essence, you're telling you who you are. So Shastras also like mirror. When you say look into the Shastra, means study the Shastra, contemplate upon it, Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasan, listen to it, read it, contemplate upon it, and then realize it. It's like a mirror only. So you can take it this way also. Your mind is also mirror, Shastras are also mirror. And then, so basically when we are doing that, attention comes to us only. Okay. So to the extent the mirror is clean, the reflection will be clean. To the extent our mind is clean, the same point that I had mentioned earlier. So suppose if somebody's mind is very clear and shuddha, okay, then he will realize the truth. And then going back to what we did today in Bhagavad Gita and in Swamiji's commentary, he said that the one with no mind or the one which had no vasanas in it, you will get the realization immediately, So it's the same thing he's talking about here in a slightly different language. So now somebody can ask that, Tejami Anandji said, hey, can this be done in other worlds also? What is the answer, And yes, it can be done. But let's see how the other lokas are going to be. So he's saying that Pitru Loke means, after death, you could reach, say, Swarga Lok bhi samajh lo. Okay? You don't have a physical body over there. It is just a subtle body is there. Right? So we don't have all the problems of the physical body. Remember we were talking about it? It's a very tempting place. Because you don't have old age, you don't have disease, and you can, everything you want instantly, you can get it and all that. So that I want to experience that, So, but वहाँ पर वो knowledge मिलना बहुत मुश्किल है. And we will analyze why. So वहाँ पर ऐसी बात नहीं है knowledge. It is there, but it's more like a dream. Why did they compare it to a dream? Because let's see in our loka what the dream does to us. So it's saying that sometimes we don't remember our dreams. And I'm one of them. I don't remember 99.9% of my dream. I know I was dreaming something, but I can't recall what it is. So hazy. There are some people. I think my husband is here. He can recall his dreams very, very clearly. And he will describe. Sometimes he will start describing and I'm asking him, is that real life or dream? Because his dreams are so clear. But still it is a dream. After a while, you're going to forget about it. And still it cannot be as clear as, the waking world. Unless somebody is getting some spiritual vision or something. Okay, that may be different. And we are not comparing to that. We're talking about a normal arena of dream is not ever as clear as the real one. And then Tejami Anandji was actually joking. He's saying, some people, even if they don't see a dream, they will say, oh, मैंने वो सपना देखा था, उसमें खूब नमक मिर्च लगा के, they will tell the story. So you don't even know half of the thing they'll make up because just to some excitement, to create that. So the conclusion is that dream is not as clear as my waking state. So now that's how they are comparing, because they are giving you an example of this other lokas that might be there. But the reason you won't acquire that knowledge, because the knowledge will not be very clear, it will be dream-like. So your chances of reaching that higher state is very low. Whereas what did they say about this Mrityu Lok, or where we are on the earth? If you can clean your mind, it will be like a mirror. You will see the self like a mirror, but there you won't. That's what he's saying. Okay? So, and then one more world people talk about is Gandharva world. So he's saying the world where there is dance, music. These Gandharva are supposed to be like, very advanced in all these things, arts and crafts and dance and music and, poetry and things like that, musical instruments. So what happens in that, it is a very involved world, because what Tejomanerji was saying, that when people are involved in dance, music, this, that, lot of other paraphernalias are required. For singing a music, somebody has to write it. So you got to be a writer. Then, lyrics are needed. Literature is needed. See how it kind of adds up. Or art वालों का तो पूछो ही मत. People who are interested in art, उनका घर देखो, उसमें कितनी सारी चीजें होंगी. Too much paraphernalia and all. So get involved. अरे ये भी चाहिए, वो भी चाहिए, वो भी चाहिए. Like one thing leads to another, another. So वहाँ पर का knowledge कैसे होता है? It's like as though you are seeing that reflection in the water. So water में depends on the flowing water में तो बहुत ही मुश्किल से दिखेगा. वैसे भी water का तो it's very not very clear at all. One is a dream-like, and the other one is compared to as though you are seeing a reflection in the water. Too many factors are going to be involved in trying to get the knowledge over there, because it's not going to be very clear. So then Tejomanerji say, hey, does it mean that earth is the only place? And no. There's one more place. We'll tell about that one more place. Okay. So what place is that where you can get a very clear one is Brahmalok, world of the creator. Itna high जाके, if you go there. So वहाँ पर कैसे बोला है कि कैसा है knowledge? It's as clear as light and shade. Nobody can confuse between light and shade. You know what is light and you know what is shade. So or chaya or light. Just so. That's very, very clear to get that. So these are only two places, according to, if you have Shraddha in the Shastras, they are telling you. One is this earth where you can get it clear, but the condition is you have to clean the mind. And in Brahmalok, if you reach to that state, Brahmaji can give you that knowledge very quickly and it will be very, very fast. But to get there is a very arduous journey. It's not that easy, you have to do a lot of tapas, lot of this and all that. So then Tejomanerji say, now don't say that you're going to wait for the Brahmalok to come. Why? Because the other opportunity has been given to you now. So he's saying, don't be lazy. Okay, वहाँ पर स्वामी जी ने encourage किया हम लोग को, hey, this may be your last birth, and we got all excited, and Tejomanerji is saying, okay, now don't be lazy. You're standing at the bottom of the mountain, just climb now. Okay? Because to reach that mountain also will take many lives, but you are there now. That's what he's basically telling. So he's saying that don't start waiting, oh, मैं गंधर्व लोक जाऊंगी, मैं उधर जाऊं, पितृ लोक जाऊंगी, and all, nothing doing, This is the best time, he said, to do this, So because he's saying that you have been given the human body now. Okay? So जो जाना चाहते हैं उनको जाने दो. Don't worry about them. Worry about what you want to do, So he's saying that, so what am I supposed to do? Suddenly you want to ask that question again, even though 100 बार बता चुके हैं सभी लोग. He's saying, all you have to do is, clean the mirror of your mind, and then, whoever knows, I think we all are North Indian, so we know Hanuman Chalisa, right? वो शुरू कैसे होता है? Shri Guru Charana Saroj Raj, right? Nija Man Mukuru Sudhari. What does that first line mean? It means, if you already know, then you'll know. But if you don't know, then this is what it means. It means I clean the mirror of my mind with the dust of the lotus feet of my guru. So this is an analogy because he's a poet, okay? So he's not saying that take the dust of your and then clean that. That's not what it means. It means I respect my guru so much that, whatever he says, I'm willing to do it. That's how I clean my mirror. That's what it means. When I have surrender to my guru, that's what it means, this whole line. So that's what he's saying, that, Guru Bhakti, Ishwar Bhakti will clean our mind. Guru will give us the Ishwar Bhakti. And then that way we can clean the mind. So he's saying the reason this is very important, he said, because when we read about the other stuff, what the Shastras are saying, Vivek, Vairagya, Shat Sampatti, and, Mumukshutvam and all that, we get a little frightened. I remember when I had done all that, and it was Kamlaji was in the class, and she said, oh my God, I have a long way to go. I said, don't worry, everybody feels that way. Because when you see that Shat Sampatti, Shama, Dhamma, and I have to do so many things, we get scared. So the easy way is given. Okay, you follow the Guru, and he will detect what are the problems with you, and he will give you the remedy. So just follow that, So devotion to Guru is a good method to purify our mind. And that's what Tulsidas ji said, in those lines. So, and the other thing is that all these things that they are talking about, all these saints and sages, they look at it as a Shastra Praman. So they have Shraddha in it, and you believe it. The urgency, why this is very important, because, other lokas, it's not going to be that easy. And he's saying that here in this particular book of Upanishad, Kathoupanishad, Yamraji, who can be a better authority to give you this information? So we have to believe it, and he was saying, So he's saying that Shankaracharya ji also points out that why it is hazy. He gives a reason that those two other lokas, when they said that the Gandharva loka and the Pitru loka, things were hazy because your mind is more extrovert over there. And the extrovert, because we talked about it, that when you go on vacation, you're not thinking about God. You want to go, ye, haan jaun, wahan jaun, ye enjoy karu. You become more extrovert. When you are in the regular life, when you're churning with this positive, negative की चक्की में हम लोग पीस रहे होते थे, भगवान ज़्यादा याद आते हैं, right? And then we also say, if I don't think of God, then I'm so miserable when I'm, doing everyday life. But when we are on vacation, we don't do that. Similar thing apply when on those other lokas, they are more kama sakti and bhoga sakti. Higher standard of living is there. A person who has a lot of paraphernalia, iPhone and iPad and computer and all, he's going to waste more time on it. And now WhatsApp and Instagram and God knows, and some people are obsessed with it, How much time we waste on it? Where are you going to do that? So there is a scientific reason. So he's saying that, okay, the Gandharva lok mein kya hoga? जो people who are interested in all this art and all that, he's saying that कितना सब कुछ करना पड़ता है. जो यहाँ सिंगर्स हैं वो बताएंगे, राग एंड ताल एंड सुर एंड डांस में, ये जो साउथ इंडियन डांस होते हैं, आई हर्ड कि उनको तैयार करने में 1-1.5 घंटा लगता है उनका. वो यहाँ पर चांद लगाया, यहाँ पर सूरज लगाया, एंड चोटी एंड गजरा, एंड माय गॉड इज so much. Extrovert हो गया कि नहीं mind? So that's what he's saying. So, but there's another, have you heard of Akhandanand ji? Akhandanand ji was a great saint from India. A lot of people read his commentary because they are very, very insightful and all that. So he gave even an amazing explanation of these two things, Gandharva Lok and Pitru Lok. He's saying right here on this earth, there are people who are so worried about their families. Either the children can be worried about the parents a lot. Spend so much time worrying, kya hoga, ye, wo, health, wealth. Nobody's saying don't do it. But when you overly do it, disproportionately, as though you are in Pitru world only, or other way around. Parents are so worried about the children and all that. So then the knowledge is going to become hazy there. Because your mind is not going to be in it, become extrovert, will not go to that, And then what happens is that when you are too much involved like that, there is a mamta, there is a word mamta. Even though some people give this name, but in the Vedanta, mamta is a slightly negative connotation. Even though we look at mamta as, oh, I should have a mamta for my children, in the local language, it might be a good trait, to have. But in the Vedanta, the reason, because it's overly attachment is called mamta here. Okay, so there is a slightly different meaning that we should understand. So constantly thinking, oh, kya hoga, and all that comes from mamta. And then thinking, oh, without me, what will happen? That also is a part of mamta only he was talking about, So he's saying that sometimes what happens is, if you have too much mamta and all that attachment, I may study a lot of shastras. I may even understand it to an extent. But one negative information comes, oh, khabar aa gayi. Somebody got sick or this, that, suddenly we get so worried. Disproportionately. So all that knowledge is not going to help because it is a hazy knowledge. It's like a reflection in the water, or it's like a dream like. It's not very clear yet in your head. That's what he was talking about. So within this world also, you can be in a Pitru world or a Gandharva world. That's what he was talking about. And it's basically extrovert. So, Tejomayananji didn't want to get discouraged by the people who like art and music. And I was saying he likes it too. He loves music and singing, and he's very much into all that. So he said, don't misunderstand me. What we are trying to say, don't get so involved in the just superficially about all these things that you forget the Lord. That's where the problem comes, he's saying. So he just gave an example, and that example will clarify what he was trying to say. So he's saying that some very singer who was singing very nicely, so other people said, oh, your singing is so good. It really moved us, the way you sang. But they asked him, hey, what moves you? So he said, oh, what moves you? He said, large audience and money. Then he said, there's a problem. And then everybody's heard of that famous story about this Akbar and, was it Tansen? I'm trying to think who he was. Tansen tha na? And so Tansen, they used to say कि उसका नाम कुछ और ही था actually. He was a Hindu fellow, but उसको कुछ तानसेन नाम दे दिया था उसने. जब वो गाता था तो बोलते दिए जल जाते थे और पता नहीं क्या क्या होता था. Maybe legend, or I don't know. Basically, he was an amazing singer. So one time when Akbar was praising him, he said, आप मुझे praise तो कर रहे हो, but आपने मेरी गुरु का नहीं सुना है आज तक. बड़ी फेमस कहानी है, सुनिए आप लोग. आई नो नरेश जी ने सुनी है, he's nodding there, but some people are nodding. So whoever has not, it's a beautiful story. So he said that Akbar said, I cannot imagine anybody singing better than you. So I want to really hear your guru now, So उसको बुलाओ. तो बोला नहीं वो ऐसे नहीं गाता है. उसको सुनना हो तो वहाँ जाना पड़ेगा हमको, और हमको ना छुप के सुनना पड़ेगा, because he doesn't sing for anybody like this. So अकबर को समझ में नहीं आया क्या बोल रहा है ये. So अकबर को लेके गया वहाँ पे. So सुबह they came in disguise, and when he was come out after his whatever morning routine, then he started singing a bhajan for the Lord, and his bhajan was so beautiful, and Akbar ekdam mantra mugdh ho gaya. Oh my God, now I know what you meant. He just is like the ultimate. But how does he do that? So he's saying, what is the difference? Why you didn't get it? How you doing? You are his chela. You should have learned exactly like that. He's saying, no, I sing for you. Means that Tansen sings for Akbar. He's saying he sings for the Lord. That's the difference. So that's what Tejomayanji was pointing it, that whatever you are doing, like Krishna Bhagavan says in Bhagavad Gita, that all your actions should be dedicated to God. Then it's going to be a good, very good, everything will going to come out. That's what Tejomayanji was trying to bring out. I mean, he's not criticizing all the artists or art or anything. Don't forget Lord in it. That's what he was telling me. And he also joked. He said that, people who write poetry and all, they can't stand the editors. You know why? editors will change their thing, and they get so attached to their thing, because he actually probably handles many books, so he was saying from his own experience, and he's saying editor को बोलो ना change मत करो, तो बोला editor बनाए क्यों है फिर मुझे? Why you have given? He was just telling you that how people get attached to their things, and he was even telling, because he does the brahmachari course he does for people. So he's saying हमारे जो ब्रह्मचारी है ना, उनको भी कोई बात बोल समझो सुनी उन्होंने, तो सबसे पहले वो लोग बोलेंगे, oh, I have to tell this in tomorrow's talk. They're not thinking कि मैं इसको, how do I practice this? They have more anxiety. I want to share it with my friends. I want to tell everybody. And उसका equivalent I would do it is that this WhatsApp में forwards जो होते हैं ना, हम लोग बहुत enthusiastic जैसे, oh, I want everybody to know. Hey, but are you practicing it? You're telling the whole world. So he was reminding. These are the things we don't think about. Hey, I'm forwarding this, but am I practicing it? Because I only forward is not going to do anything, neither to me nor to the other people, So that's what talking about, that why these other lokas are not, because your mind is getting extrovert. So try to bring it back.
There's a slight different version of the same story, because because his guru would not sing. So Tan sang a verse, wrong verse. So that then Guru started telling him, hey, you can do like that. This is the way to sing this verse.
Okay, because he tricked. Okay, I got it.
Tricked his guru. So तब उसने अकबर ने बहुत बढ़िया माला अपनी उतार के गुरु को दी. तो उस गुरु ने उसी माला को अपने जिसमें भजन कर रहे थे ना, हवन कुंड में डाल दी.
Okay.
तो अकबर मन में सोचने लगा कि भाई मैंने इसको इतनी महंगी माला दी, तो इसने उसमें डाल दी. तो जो तानसेन के गुरु थे, उन्हें उसकी मन की बात जो भाग के ना ऐसे पीछे हाथ दिया, 15-20 माला निकाल के आगे रख.
Because that material thing.
बोला कि वो मैं तुम्हारे लिए गाता हूँ, वो भगवान के लिए गा रहे. देखिए उनको इस चीज का कोई मतलब नहीं, कितनी महंगी तुमने दी, उन्होंने 20 तुम्हारे सामने निकाल के रखी.
Right. Interesting. Yeah. Nice addition to that story. Yes. Okay. So,
Umaji, one question I still don't understand. You explained so well.
No problem.
Does one get knowledge in other lokas, like Prithu Loka, in all those? How do they get it? Because for knowledge, you need the mind and the intellect. Now they've gone past that, then,
But they still have a mind. Remember, mind, intellect is a subtle body.
Yeah, it is a subtle body, but somebody has to operate that subtle body in order to, isn't it?
No.
I mean,
I'm sorry, I didn't understand your question exactly. You are saying that the mind and intellect are not ready to receive, or they can get the knowledge, but it's going to be hazy because their efforts are not going to be there. That's why it will be hazy. Okay? Because it's like how do I explain it? Even now, suppose, okay, we may have that knowledge, but if I don't make the effort to keep that knowledge alive, it will start becoming hazier and hazier in my life. It will not apply. I won't be able to apply it when the time comes.
Okay.
So what they're telling you, that the other worlds, the bhog vilas is so much. That's why they use the pitru loka, where your subtle enjoyments are so high that you don't even care about that knowledge so much. You don't put that much effort. And then in the Gandharva loka is because there's so much dance, drama, all that enjoyment, entertainment is going on. It's something like if I'm watching TV constantly and watching movies and things like that, I'm going to get more and more sucked into it. And the knowledge that I'm trying to gain of the higher self is becoming hazier and hazier in my mind.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? The analogy?
I know, but
what is your confusion? I'm trying to clear that.
My confusion is, I guess it's a subtle body, and subtle body. How does that act? I mean, I don't understand.
Well, subtle body is nothing but that you don't have this physical gross body. We are made up of mind, body, mind, intellect, ego, and all that,
Ego,
right?
yeah.
And their consciousness is there reflecting in our mind.
Yes.
That's why we are alive. That's
Yes.
our package right now. So
Yes.
when we go to other lokas, this body is gone. The physical body is meant for only earth
Yes.
or earth-like places, you can say. So when you are in that subtle world, the swarg lok hai na, wo subtle world hai. You don't have the physical body. That's why you don't have the issues of the physical body. But mentally you are still enjoying. I still want rasgulla, I still want नाच गाना, I still want all that. But it is जैसे स्वप्न में देखते हैं ना हम लोग, समझो वैसे.
Yeah.
We have a hard time comprehending it, but we have to just have a shraddha. And then people who have had the NDE experience, near death experience, they will verify this on 100%. Their mind was working, intellect was working, everything. They just didn't have the physical body.
Is it more? So it's not more of external. That's if we have just our body. Is it working just the external, or there's a desire, or there's a want of something more than just the external world?
So the spiritual desire will still be there, right? True. When suppose we quit, that's what you're asking. Spiritual desire is there. Very quickly I will get distracted. That's what they're trying to tell you. स्वर्ग लोक में जाएंगे. स्वर्ग लोक का डिस्क्रिप्शन क्या है? किसी भी रिलीजन में आप चले जाओ, क्या स्वर्ग लोक का डिस्क्रिप्शन होता है? अप्सराएं हैं, और नाच गाना चल रहा है, सब कुछ बहुत सुंदर है. नो बैड थिंग्स आर देयर. सो वहां पर मैं I am going to get away from this self-knowledge very quickly because I'll get sucked into all those. And that's why I gave the analogy of a vacation. This is a fact in our life. Moment we go on vacation, we don't continue our sadhana. I'm also going for 3 weeks. I won't get time to study Bhagavad Gita over there. I hope I do a little bit, but it's not going to be as much as I do when I'm here.
Okay, so the people who have already left and they were into that path, as we've done in Geeta, right? They quickly get another birth. That's what they say.
True. Yes.
Right? So if they get quickly the other birth, that means they needed that body. They needed that thing in order to progress. Now, just with the subtle body, without this external body, how do they do it? Because with that, they have that shraddha, they want to go.
No, if they have that strong desire to continue, then Bhagavan said, no, they will take birth in a yogi's family very quickly. So they come back to the earth. That's exactly why they come back to the earth. And the people who जिनको भोग विलास करना है, they are long time, they are wasting their time in the Swarg Lok, then they are born again in a rich and pious family. So everything fits with this.
So they don't gain extra knowledge, those who are going to Swarg Lok.
No.
Because they're enjoying whatever they had, but they're not getting extra.
No.
So when reading this, when you talk about the lokas, the Pitru Loka, then I'm thinking, okay, how do they get extra knowledge? But they don't, they whatever they have, they use it. Is that true?
See, this is what it is. They are not completely denying you cannot get, but they are saying it's going to be difficult because it's going to be hazy. It's like I'm trying to read these lines over here. They are very clear to me. But if I have to read in a reflected thing in the water, after a while I might give up because I get frustrated. I'm not getting the clear picture. So even if I want to do it, it's not that easy to do it. But that doesn't mean that earth mein sabhi ko knowledge mil jayega, it's so easy. No, we got to clean the mirror of our mind.
True. But I'm just thinking of that. How do they get the knowledge?
They don't. That's why they're saying the chances are less. They have to come back to earth or go to Brahmalok.
Yeah, so they have to come back to...
Or they go to Brahmalok. Either they come this way or they go to that way. But that way is longer route. Brahmalok is not that easy. उसके पीछे बीच में बहुत सारे लोग आएंगे. So वो long route ले रहे हैं.
I think one thing about this, in that subtle body, there's no karmendriya. There's no karmendriya. You cannot do any new karmas. You cannot do anything better to do better for yourself. So you don't really gain, like you're saying, it's more difficult to gain any punyas there. All you're
Very good point. It's a vacation
Yes.
place. It's
Us-
that's right. Go ahead.
all you're using is what you have gained before. Call it, okay, you said upshrine. That brings up another question. Why only upshrines? I think there should be something, okay, there are handsome men also. With
Yeah, ठीक है. There, for women, there'll be like some dancers over there. I don't know. I haven't been there. Or even if I've been there, I don't remember.
But the main thing is that you cannot improve yourself there. That's why they say that you have to come back to this world, earthly world, have a body, and then you can gain or go the negative
That's
side.
what I mean.
Yeah, okay. I think that he clarified it. And if suppose somebody really wants to try hard, might be able to get. They are not denying completely. All they are saying is it's difficult. There may be few people from Swarg Lok, they will go forward in some other higher lokas and reach the Brahma Loka. Okay, that's called Krama Mukti. They can, but it's very difficult. It's rarely it will happen. But Earth, you have a better chance. Just don't analyze it too much. Just try to get the gist of it. Gist of it is that Earth and Brahmalok, either two places you are likely to get this. Other places are just waste of time according to the Shastra, because of what Sushil ji explained, that you are just, तुम्हारा accumulated जो पुण्य है ना, उसका तुमको फल मिल रहा है, मगर उसमें progress नहीं होने वाली तुम्हारी.
That's what I was
And
saying.
maybe 100 में से एक को मिलेगा, वो chances are very low. And other people 100 में से एक चला जाएगा because his desire was so strong कि स्वर्ग से भी आगे चला जाएगा. बाकी लोगों को वापस भेजना पड़ेगा अर्थ पे. तो तुम लोग को अर्थ पे भेजना पड़ेगा, तो अभी हो ना यहाँ पे. So abhi kar lo. That's exactly what Tejo Mehananji said, that it is here and now. Just like Swamiji was saying. You got the opportunity here and now. So take it and start working on it. Okay? So, and then Brahmalok mein kya hoga? Ki the Brahmaji himself give you that knowledge. He's the teacher.
Yes.
So, that is a Hiranyagarbha state, So over there you will get it very clearly. There is no doubt you won't get it. But to get over there is very, very difficult.
It seems like only from the human body or from here you can either go to Brahmaloka or self-realize. There is, even if you go to the different ones, you have to come back to this.
Yeah, but remember one thing, they have not put it in a tight box. So that's why they use the language that it is difficult. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna Bhagwan has used that language. He doesn't want you to pay ऐसा होगा ही नहीं होएगा, लेकिन बहुत कम लोगों को मिलेगा, तो why to go in that area?
Okay.
That's all it is. Yeah.
I guess it's so much limited that I have to then analyze. You have limited knowledge to work with, whatever you read.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. No problem. Yeah. Any other? I pretty much done with this. So, any other confusion is there? What they're talking about?
Yeah, I was going to tell my understanding was more what that when you do good deeds or bad deeds on earth, God is beyond that. I mean, you can find that. Okay. So the good deeds take you to vacation in Swarg, and bad deeds take you to suffering.
Yes.
But once you exhaust them, then you come back to it.
Right.
Right.
Because you are still connected.
Right.
So in order to get disconnected, think this way. You are already consciousness, universe.
Yes.
You have these strings tied to your body and other stuff.
Okay.
So the step will be to disconnect yourself from your body. And you can observe your body. So that way you can eat rasgulla and still not eat it. I know. Nina says it's a cop-out, but that's the way it works. Because you just observe yourself.
Yeah.
And so that's the way, and then you disconnect. So all these things that they are telling are to remove those strands, which are tied to the consciousness and you.
Yeah, I
And
mean, you are
everybody
telling the
has
path.
different points.
That's fine. Yeah, you are telling the path, and that's what it is. And what is the path on the earth?
Yeah.
So what he's saying is the same thing, given a different language. To clean the mirror of your mind means disconnecting and becoming detached. That's it. So it's like rasgulla, the way you gave the example. If I start craving for rasgulla, then it's a problem. But if your wife brings a nice rasgulla, please by all means eat it. But don't say, I want another one, or I want every
Don't
day.
get upset if you don't get it.
You don't get disturbed when you don't get, that's the problem. So, okay. So I think that, everybody got the gist of it, right? And when we read Swamiji's commentary, maybe more things will open up.
What if, Umaji, if I make two?
Yeah, you can eat two also. But then you have to do it with intelligence. Means, if two is conducive to your body, you can eat three. Nobody's stopping. But at our age, I tell you, दो भी नुकसान करेगा मेरे ख्याल में. If you are 30, 40, 50 तक चलेगा. दो तीन.
Half is more than enough.
Huh?
Half is more than enough.
Now you're saying it. Yes. Yes. Okay, who's a volunteer to read the commentary? कौन? Anilji, you want to read then?
Brahman can be seen in the self as one sees in oneself in the mirror. In the world of means, as one perceives oneself in dream. In the world of Gandharvas, as one's reflection is seen in the water. And in the world of Brahma, as distinctly separated as in light and shade.
So now we went through it very detailed, right? All this, huh?
In every phase of this mantra, almost an entire Upanishad is packed so that the whole stanza literally seems to bend down with the weight of its own meaning. On the first reading, it may suggest to you as an almost clear and plain statement. This is the trick of style of Upanishad. The simpler it looks, the more pregnant it would be in its significance.
Okay,
Sorry.
this paragraph was not in mind, but that's fine. He's just telling you that it is a lot more to it than what it says, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In the previous mantra, we have been advised that in our life, the greatest achievement would be that of realizing our own real nature. Now in this mantra, Lord Death is trying to explain to his disciple Nichiketa how realization of the self in the human existence is much more sacred compared with the possibilities of realization in the other different planes of existence.
See, so this is very significant what Minaji is saying, that possibility of it. So they are not saying impossible, okay? But he's saying that isme zyada chances hai. That's all it is.
One question I have, in these other lokas, are there gurus to give you knowledge if you want?
Yeah, there are. I mean, अपने पुराणों में लिखा है ना कि वो क्या बोलते हैं, इंद्र वगैरह के गुरु थे ना, क्या नाम था, बृहस्पति. And even the Danavas have, the Rakshasas had a guru, Shukracharya. They are supposed to guide them. But उनके आपस में झगड़े ही नहीं खत्म होते हैं, तो वो पॉलिटिक्स में ही उनको गाइड करते रहते हैं. ब्रह्म ज्ञान तो उनको ध्यान में भी नहीं आता है. That's what it is. Yeah. There are guru बेचारे क्या करेंगे? Guru have the knowledge, but उनको लेने के लिए भी तो कोई होना चाहिए. Here also, in this world also, once in a while, some of these gurus and all, depending on the audience, they talk. Because I remember that one time it was Shri Ravi Shankar and he didn't say too much high stuff, and then some people were very disappointed. I said, well, look at the audience. 90% are not interested to listen to what he has to say. Then why should he waste his time? So gurus are there, everything. If somebody has a strong desire, you can get a guru anywhere, in any loka. Probably including hell.
No, exactly. Because if you are seeking knowledge, you will find the good.
Yes. But if you're not interested, then gurus don't want to waste their time either.
As men, we are living in a plane of consciousness where we have certain kinds of experiences which we gain through our sense organs, mind and intellect, when they react with the available external world of sense objects. Just as our experiences of the waking state world are not the same as our experiences in our dreamland, so too there can be other planes of consciousness wherein different degrees of experiences can be our lot. Thus, we have the Pitraloka, the world of the mains, where the individual has only the mind and intellect equipment and not physical body. Naturally, the experiences gained by the subtle body must be different from our own experiences here, inasmuch as the body with its demands, cravings, pains, and joys will color our experiences to give us, on the whole, a totally different life. Similarly, the experiences in the world of Gandharvas, divine nymphs, instinctively clever in music, dance, and such other allied arts, and in the plane of consciousness, called the Hiranyagarbha or the Brahmaloka, the total mind, must each be totally different from those in all the other worlds. Here, Shruti is trying to give the comparative clarity with which the absolute knowledge can be reached by the seekers in the different planes of existence.
So he's just summarizing that he talked about 4 different lokas and the experience are going to be different. Yeah.
And I think this is what answers Meenaji's question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. Mm-hmm. Hopefully.
Yatha Adarsh, as in the mirror. Man living the life of the mortal in this world alone can, through the required special practices, come to gain the clearest concept of the absolute knowledge. Transcending his mind and intellect intuitively, a seeker comes face to face with the truth, the self or the Atma. At this stage, there is a natural pause for all the thinking students to raise a serious doubt. When one's mind and intellect have been transcended, how can there be an ego who can come face to face with the center of all our lives to recognize it? True, the question is quite intelligent, logical, and to the mark. This question has been answered here in the simple-looking comparison with the reflection in a mirror.
So he's just saying that if you transcend the mind and intellect, then who's going to recognize whom? So that's why they're saying that the mirror ka example has some whole process involved, and we discussed it, that how mirror actually points to you, even though you're looking at the reflection, but it's pointing, hey, this is how you look. Okay, so that's the whole idea, huh?
Friends, mirror gazing must be quite familiar to every one of you, as no day can pass in this era of daily shaving without your looking into a mirror. But probably you have never tried to analyze the exact moment of your understanding your reflection. Let this sadhu try to help you.
He's telling next paragraph, what you do.
Supposing for a moment that you are standing in front of a mirror. Now, seeing your reflection in the mirror, what do you exactly understand? If, for example, your reflection showed that it needs a shaving badly, would you then start shaving the reflection in the mirror, or would you do it on your own face? That is, though you are looking out into the reflection in the mirror, you are in fact understanding not the reflection, but yourself.
So everybody understood that he's telling you that how, one second, I have to put my this thing is about to die, my computer, I didn't realize. Okay, yeah. So that how you, when you're looking in the mirror, you are actually not looking at the reflection. You are looking at the reflection, but the reflection is pointing towards you. So remember that. And now let's see what he says in the next paragraph, last one. Yeah.
Similarly, when the mind and the intellect have been presented in the last moments of the white heat of meditation, the individual ego, peeping over its own limitations, as it were, comes face to face with the eternal self, and when thus the highly evolved ego comes to reflect the light of the eternal knowledge, the reflection merges itself in a process of knowing to become one with the self. Seeing the reflection, we do not actually come to know so much the reflection as through it, we come to understand the source of the reflection, our own face.
So this can be a little confusing. Basically, what is telling you that in यहाँ पर no examples are perfect. So even though I'm looking at the mirror and I'm looking at my reflection, and once even I kind of know that this is my reflection, that's why I have to work on myself. But in the meditation and all, what they're talking about, that final stage, कि उसका वो भेद खत्म हो जाता है reflection और real का. As though mirror टूट गया and I can see myself, something like that, okay, which is not possible in the mirror, but just think of it that way. I think the better example is the wave and the ocean. The wave is thinking I'm separate, and then, hey, where is my origin, this and all, doing the sadhana. Finally, hey, I am the ocean, you know. So that's how we have to look at it. So not a perfect example, but still pretty good one. You know? So we're going to stop here. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Could it be, Vedas are the mirror of us? That's what they talk about. Yeah. Could it be that when I am at that stage, when I've transcended, that means the ego itself is really looking at the self.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
And not the body as such, but as the self.
Correct. There are so many different ways to look at it, because they say mind is the obstruction, because there is vasanas and all, so everything become clean. It's a no mind anyway. So I've crossed that, and merged into the higher. You can look at it that way, or you can look at it the mirror example, and whichever way you want to look at it. But basically, that's what they're trying to tell you, that you can do this a lot easier on the earth. Because other places, you're going to get sucked into, bhog vilas and all and that, and the knowledge will keep becoming more and more hazy. But here, if you continue the sadhana, because even in one paragraph, he very clearly said that with the right practice. Now, I don't know exactly where it is, but I was noticing that. Yeah, in this paragraph, he said that man living in the life of mortal in this world alone can, through the required special practices, come to gain the clearest concept of absolute knowledge. So that whole thing of required special practice, that's what it means. So, abhyas and vairagya, like what we studied over there. So it's still a lot of commentaries left. It's already 12:37. So we will stop here and read. But anybody has any question, comment? It's a little bit tough part of the subject, but hopefully we got something out of it.
Umaji, is it true that your mind ends when your desires end?
Yeah. And you will use the mind more than as an instrument, because to continue on the earth, we need the mind. What our problem is, our mind does so much havoc for us because it won't shut up, right? Like middle of the night, or kuch nahi, so you will start thinking of all the negative stuff, जो नहीं होने वाला है वो भी हम सोच लेंगे सब कुछ.
It always takes detours,
Yeah, oh yeah. So it's like the way we have to look at it, because the no mind gets lot of confusion in people's head. They use the mind as an instrument, the self-realized people, while they are on the earth. कुछ काम करना होगा, you need that mind, you need the intelligence, you need the memory, you need all of that. But
I think it's the end of thoughts.
Unnecessary thoughts. If you have to do some work and you need some thoughts for that, that's okay,
Right.
But lamenting over the past, worrying about the future, and over anxiety about the kya hoga be present maybe or something, I don't know. All that is the mind ka problem. So jinka the best word they use is pure mind. तो उसमें ये सब कूड़ा कचरा नहीं भरा हुआ है.
I heard Sadhguru, he said that he never thinks.
Right.
He uses a lot, but he never thinks.
So when he doesn't think, then people think that, somebody might take it ulta. What do you mean he doesn't think? But then we have to, it's a concept that we have to understand what he means by it. He doesn't unnecessarily think and waste his time. That's what it means.
If once we have grasped this point clearly in all its pregnant import, we shall easily understand the other comparisons used in explaining the different degrees of clarity with which a seeker can realize his own self in the different planes of conscious existence.
Okay, so we will stop here, because abhi bhi time ho gaya. So anyway, you read this paragraph. So basically यहाँ पे बोला है कि ये जो बताया ना ऊपर 2-3 पैराग्राफ में, अगर वो हम लोग को समझ में आ जाएगा अच्छे से, then we will understand कि क्यों दूसरे लोगों में वो clarity नहीं है. That's all he's saying. And I think that Tejomayananji gave a very, very good explanation with other people's, Khandananji's commentaries, that how in this world also some people are on the earth, but they as though live in Pitru Lok, and some people as though live in that Gandharva Lok and get too sucked into their life. And then if you really want to believe in other worlds, fine, then this is what it's going to be. It's not going to be as clear. So what is the message? Here and now, right now, start. Vairagya and Abhyas. Yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense what you said. Such a clear picture. You are standing at the base of the mountain.
Yes. And now, yes. If you miss this opportunity, तुमको कहाँ से घूम के वापस आना पड़ेगा mountain के पास. So mountain is their climate. Otherwise, खो जाएगा mountain वापस. That's another way to look at it.
और ये mountain के चक्कर लगाते रहो, ऊपर नहीं जाओ.
परिक्रमा करते रहो, ऊपर नहीं जाओ. That's a good one too. Keep doing parikrama, but don't climb it. Chakkar pe chakkar. Base pe. Yeah. Any other comment or question on this topic? Right, you are muted, Meena ji.
Yeah. Are you going to be here next week?
Oh no. So I actually told everybody, whoever was there. So Bharat and I are going on Monday to India for 2.5 weeks. So I calculated that 3, maybe I can, why don't I close this and in I don't want to have this in the recording, all these things. Okay. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhavet Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha.